Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Boxing Unlimited here once again, and today we're going to be discussing about the fight between Gervonta Davies and Shakur Stevenson. What we're asking in the question we're asking is who is ducking who is dodging who. You know, the last time the fight was called off. They were supposed to meet, but in no particular order. Today we'll tell you everything about the fight and why the fight is like this. You know, and a lot of people have said that Shakur Stevens is a boring fighter. I don't think he's boring. He has a system. Every boxer has his peculiar way of fighting, and that is his way of fighting. You can't call it boring. The most important thing for you to do is for you to get onto your movement and then stop him from moving and beat him up. We've seen the fight. We've seen Sugar Ray is a mover. Sugar Ray Leonard, we all know him. He's one of the very known boxers around in the world now, alive, best known. We saw Sugar Ray Leonard fight Hagler, fight Thomas Hens, fight Willie Benitez, Wilfredo Benitez, fight Roberto Duran. All of them, The first fight to Duran, he lost, and he came out, took on his bicycle because he had a banger. Took on a bicycle and moved, and then Roberto Duran couldn't continue. He gave up. He gave up. No mass, no mass, no mass. That is what came out of his mouth. I don't want to continue the fight because he was made to lose, made to miss, and made to pay several times. He ended on the round 7, round 8, thereabout. Then Hagler came in, Sugar Ray dissenting, with all the actions, all the pressure from Hagler. Sugar Ray was a moving machine. Then we know the Hanks one, the one that gave him a detached retina. And we know Wilfredo Benitez, he won the title from him in 1979. So all these are fighters who their way of fighting for them is movement. Their work rate, their movement, their dancing, they are moving, they're on their bike always, as they're moving, they're throwing punches. So for Davies to say that Shakur Stevenson's system is boring is total rubbish to me. I have to be honest with you. I will call it the way it is. I love Davies, Gervonta. I'm a fan. I'm also a fan of Shakur Stevenson, even though Shakur Stevenson talks a lot of rubbish and then never comes up with any solution. If Davies wants to fight, if he wants to unify the title between WBA and the WBC in that lightweight division, I don't know why they should dodge this. But what are the governing bodies doing? I'm asking this question. Can they make this fight happen? Well, somebody that is up now in the air from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia should come to make this fight happen. Give them a pause. A pause they can't refuse. Money they can't refuse. Give it to them, and then let's see what happens, and we'll see who is ducking who. Because nearly last month the fight came up, and then suddenly Gervonta, tripped out and said, "Look, this guy is boring." I don't want to hear that word boring anymore because it's total nonsense, total rubbish to me as far as I'm concerned. These are fighters. Everybody has his own way of fighting the system. Gervonta does not engage you until he finds you, reach you out. We saw his fight with Garcia. We saw his fight with Charles. We saw his fight with even so many other fights. He's a mover too. He's slick in his way. But different from Shakur. Shakur is a mover. He's on his back. He's a very good boxer, exceptional boxer. Won a silver medal in the Olympics, and he's been there. This is the third weight. He's been a champion. So he's moving, and he's just about 27 years or thereabout. So he has more years to come. He's not reached his peak. If the fight between Gervonta Davies and Shakur Stevenson is going to be a great fight, Is gonna, it might break the pay-per-view for lower weight. We know that. Remember that when Hence fought Sugar Ray Leonard in 1981. The purse was 11 million for Sugar Ray and 10 million for $10 million for Hens. So but this one is probably going to surpass it, and it's just in the lightweight division. Let us see what is going to happen. But I'm pleading to people at the helm of affairs in Saudi Arabia in boxing to make this fight happen. Make it fair. We want to see the best fight the best, and we've seen it. We've seen since they came into the groove. We've seen Usyk and the Fury fight. We've seen Debua and Joshua fight. All these are major fights, and they make this fight happen. Let them make this one. We want to know who is dodging who is ducking who is avoiding who is that. They are both good boxers, and for somebody who is always on the bicycle, you need to come out with a system that will cut off the ring. We saw Hagler do it against Sugar Ray Leonard. We saw Hens do it against Sugar Ray Leonard. We saw Roberto do it against Sugar Ray Leonard in the first fight, even though they had a wagger and they had a bet. If you stand my ground, but that is psychologically. You come to the fight, you fight your system. That is the way. You fight the way you know, you fight the way you want. Nobody's going to tell you, change my style to suit yours. No, you don't do that in boxing. Boxing is a game, is a sport. You need to have your own game plan, have your own peculiar way of doing things, and you have to utilize it during the time of the fight. Having said this, I will have to be honest with you. The question I'm asking today is who is ducking who? Is Gervonta ducking Stevenson, or Stevenson the other way around? Stevenson never said anything of pulling out of the fight with Gervonta. So for now, we say that Gervonta is the one ducking him. He had to come out and prove that he's not ducking Stevenson, and then we know that he's a fighter that he is. He's undefeated in his fight. Both of them unblemished. They're still very good. They're still young. They're just getting into their primes. Let them fight. Let us see who wins. These days a lot of people are so confused about the whole thing. Nobody loses. But the other, if you watch the older fighters, nobody thinks of losing. Sugar Ray Robinson fought Jack LaMotta 6 times, and out of the 6 times, he was only beaten once, and that was the first fight he lost in about 10 years or thereabout. But it doesn't really matter. He continued. He fought several times. First defeat, Fuma defeated him. Emilia Basilio defeated him. And he still fought him. It's not the end of the day if you have one defeat. So what we're saying is that who is dodging who in this situation that we're in? Because people are praying, people want that fight. It's just like the fight we're going to watch on Saturday against Bivol and Betabia. People have been looking for it. Since Roy Jones, nobody has attempted to be the undisputed champion in the light heavyweight. We saw Michael Spence do that against Dewey Braston, aka Pawi Mohammed, who is taking the undisputed fight championship from Matthew Said Mohammed. And we saw Holyfield. No, Holyfield was in the cruiserweight. We saw Michael Spence, yes. And we know how he fought, and then he moved up to the heavyweight where he defeated Larry Holmes and everything. So it's an opportunity when he wins the title, because we're asking the question. A lot of people are saying they're already counting Bivol out, so to say the least. They're saying Betabiev will have to move on to the cruiser fight with and fight Jai Opataya, unify the belts there. Probably coming. No, but you forgot that he's 39 years, and his knee is no longer the way it is. In fact, he had a surgery on it, and is a wonder how he can at that age still be active. But what we're saying, Lara is 41 and he's the champion in middleweight division. What about the Chinese giant, Chang? Zhang is still at his late 40s. and in the 40s. I think it's 40 years, going to 41 years, and he's still there, knocking people out. So it is important we bear these things in mind. And what we're saying, what we're calling in this video is Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davies, who is knocking who want to see that fight. Gervonta is calling it boring, but we'll say it's rubbish because it's not boring. It's a system of way and system of fighting. Nobody's going to ask you to change your fighting to make it look interesting. This is what you know, and this is the way you fight. No apologies for that from any boxer, so to say. If you do not want to fight him, that means you're avoiding him. You're scared. You think you can lose because of the way he fights. So we're calling on Davies, to make this fight happen. He's going to fight somebody else. We'll talk about that fight later in the day, when we'll come up again. And having said all these things, we'll have to go now. Our time is up. And do have a nice day, and God bless.